Hi, I'm Amy Stasiewicz, and welcome to The Minutes. Thanks for tuning in. It's great to have you along on The Minutes for the week of February 2nd. This is a City of Thunder Bay podcast. The Minutes looks at what happened at Thunder Bay City Council this past week. You can find The Minutes wherever you get your podcasts, including our YouTube channel and our website, thunderbay.ca/The Minutes. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update. This week was the second City Council meeting of 2026. Some big topics were covered at Tuesday's meeting, including the minutes from the Special Committee of the Whole meetings for the long-term financial overview and the 2026 operating budget. We'll break down the highlights from this meeting, and later I'll be joined by Matt Pearson to talk about the Eye on the Street program. So let's get started. Like all council and standing committee meetings, the meeting began with a land acknowledgement. City Council meetings open with a national anthem performed by a guest or local group. This week's performance was by a youth vocalist named Peyton Mandarick. Following the anthem, Council moved directly into the agenda. First up was a much-anticipated conversation about the long-term financial plan and the 2026 operating budget. After 3 special Committee of the Whole meetings at the end of January, Council is now at the point of making a final decision. A memo was provided to Council summarizing the operating budget public engagement results. The city had 3 pop-up events between October 2025 and January 2026, where staff answered questions and asked residents where services mattered to them most. About 64 people participated and shared their views. The city also launched a short budget survey that closed on January 29th, with 142 people responding. The survey asked for feedback on the budget and potential changes, so thanks to everyone who took part. Okay, so let's recap what happened over the last couple of weeks. At the Special Committee of the Whole meeting on January 28th, an amendment was brought forward asking Thunder Bay Police to take another look at their proposed 9.1% budget increase. That amendment did not pass because of the vote ending in a 6-6 tie. Now, fast forward to this week's City Council meeting on February 3rd. Councillor Bentz requested a revote on that same police budget amendment. After a lengthy discussion, Council voted again, and once more, the amendment failed, and this time by a 7-6 vote. And with that, the final decision was made. Council approved the 2026 operating budget, which requires 4.4% more property taxes to be raised compared to 2025. Property taxes help pay for everything our city does. Things like public services, community programs, and the work of city agencies, boards, and commissions. For most people who already own a home and haven't made big changes to it, their property tax bill will go up by 4%. There's also a small extra amount of 0.4%. That comes from something called the new assessment growth. This money doesn't come from existing homeowners. It comes from growth in the community and is used to pay for services needed as the city grows. So what does new assessment growth mean? It simply means new homes, new businesses, and improvements to existing properties. As the city grows and develops, those new and improved properties help bring in more tax revenue to support things like roads, services, and community needs. Okay, so you might be wondering, how does this affect my property tax bill? So let's break it down. For a residential single-family detached home, the estimated 2026 property tax increase is about $72 for every $100,000 of assessed value. Your property value is set by MPAC and not the city. If you want to find out more, you can visit thunderbay.ca/budget. The city's website has amazing tools and resources to understand the budget a bit more. Next up was a presentation from City Manager John Collin, who walked City Council through the City Manager Work Plan and the year-end update for 2025. It's been a big year for the city, with several major projects either launched or completed, including a new city governance model, the Smart Growth Action Plan, the Pool 6 vision and concept, the Conservatory Renewal Project, and the creation of a one-stop development shop, just to name a few. Looking ahead, there's also some major infrastructure projects on the horizon, such as the indoor turf facility and the reimagination of Victoriaville. Following the city manager's presentation was the consent agenda and consent agenda resolutions. In the consent agenda, there was a report on the 311 implementation authorization. 311 is a simple, nationally recognized number for non-emergency municipal services, and it's already being used in many Canadian cities. It gives residents and businesses a single point of contact for city services. In Thunder Bay, 311 would operate through the new centralized customer service division, which is launching in December 2026. Once approved, the city will notify telecom providers and begin implementation planning. Overall, 311 will provide a modern, consistent, and accessible way for residents to connect with city services. Next, there was a report on the Community Partnership Fund Grant Award. The city plans to provide $450,000 to the nonprofit organization Our Kids Count to purchase a building at Simpson Street and Mackenzie Street. The building will become a community hub with a kitchen and a central location for food programs serving people in need. Next was an update on the reserve and the reserve fund policy. The city is updating several reserve funds. Think of these like a special savings account that the city uses to pay for big projects, parks, roads, and even animal control. Basically, this is the city making sure money is organized and ready for projects that help our community grow. Next is some exciting news about Thunder Bay's water system. The city's application for the Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program has been approved by the province. This funding will fix and upgrade some very outdated water pipes. The province will cover 73% of the costs, up to $9.35 million, and the city will pay $3.46 million plus any extra costs if needed. This funding lets the city speed up these important upgrades without affecting other city services. Inspections are already done and design work for the replacements starts soon, with construction happening later this year. There was also an update on the annual report for the Eye on the Street program. I'll be chatting later with Matt Pearson, who will break down what this program is all about and how it keeps our community safe. All consent agenda items were then approved by Council. Near the end of the meeting, City Council then reviewed and approved a series of bylaws. The meeting was then adjourned. Okay, so that's it for City Council updates for this week. Next, I'll be chatting with Matt Pearson, the Senior Advisor in the city's Growth Department, to discuss what the Eye on the Street program is and why it's important for the safety of our community. The Eye on the Street program is a safety initiative that's been in place since 2005 and now includes around 30 active surveillance camera locations with recent upgrades. Joining me in the Minute studio is Matt Pearson, the Senior Advisor in the city's Growth Department, to talk more about this program. Hey, Matt, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so I think this is a really, the city has so much that we do, but a lot of people probably don't even know about this program. So we'll get down to it.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the listeners who don't know, what is the Eye on the Street program and why does Thunder Bay use it?
Well, the Eye on the Street program is a community safety initiative, and it's in partnership with the Thunder Bay Police. And so in 2005, as you said, when the program started, cameras went up in primarily the downtown cores, and they were monitored for a period every day, and they were able to record. Now, this is back when CD-ROMs and whatnot were working. And should an incident happen, or should a person viewing the footage see an incident happen, they could call police and kind of alert them to what was going on. This was meant to help deter unlawful behavior, deter graffiti, deter anything that might be recognized as a crime or a nuisance. So in 2005, that's how it started. In 2020, there was a major reinvestment from the Solicitor General's Guns and Gangs program. That's really what allowed the city to modernize the program. By the end of life, if we all know technology gets old quick, we have a 4-year-old iPhone and we want to jump out of it. We had a 15-year-old surveillance system. So it had lost a lot of its functionality. And to be honest with you, the quality of the footage was no longer relevant or able to support cases. So there was a big modernization. And with that, the I program expanded. And at that point, there was 20 locations. Now, these cameras are of higher quality, and they were able to see better at night. So what we did is we put them up around, again, focusing on the 2 downtown cores. And that program came online, I think, in early 2021. Since then, we're now in its 3rd phase. We continue to report annually to the to City Council on the data that comes out of it. We report to an advisory committee that helps guide the program. And really, its backbone is community safety. And so that's its main function. We do work exclusively with the police with the program. So it's really also a support tool for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you don't realize all these things go on, but it's nice to know.
So it is a public program. It's not hidden behind closed doors. We are actually quite proud of it. We tell people where the cameras are. You can see them. And again, through the council process, we get to update the community on how this is having a positive impact on community safety.
Right. Yeah. So there are signs to show where the cameras are.
Yeah, there are signs in the areas where the cameras are being used.
Oh, okay.
And so you'll see them. They're all around the downtowns. You'll even see them in some areas where it's not in the downtown, and there will be a camera, and it's a large rectangular sign, and it says, "You are in an eye on the street area." And actually, one of the things I'd like to do, and this is one of the proposals I'll be bringing forward to council, is actually identifying that we're using the I program in the entire community. As the program continues to grow and the capabilities of the cameras improve, I think it's just the most transparent thing to let all people know that this community has a program. It's called the Eye on the Street. This is what it's all about. This is who to talk to if you have questions. And this is why we're doing it. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. Amazing. How does the city decide where new cameras are placed, or is that something that's decided with the police?
That's very much, we decide that with the police. Now, the last 3 rounds of funding have come from the Solicitor General's Guns and Gangs program. So in order to qualify for that funding, the cameras need to be in areas that can be justified to combat guns and gangs. So when for instance, in this latest round, we receive a grant. It's a 50% grant, so the city needs to match that funding. We then work with police and say, where are the areas that these cameras would be best used, most needed? And they bring us a list, and this is the process we're in now. We then also work with T-Baytel to help design the implementation program. Is there appropriate power on site? Is there data connectivity? Can we attach the camera to a piece of municipal infrastructure, whether it be a street light or a municipal building? And then once we've vetted all that, we come back with, here's what these locations are going to cost. And some can be quite costly. If we're bringing in power from a faraway way or the data connection from a faraway way, some of these locations can be quite expensive. And so at that point, we then take the budget, we take the locations, and we try to maximize impact on a dollar per dollar basis. So that's sort of transparently what happens. Once we have that list, we then go to council and we say, this is what our intentions are. Do you have questions, comments, concerns, whatever? And also that period in between from going to the standing committee to going to council, the community gets a chance to weigh in. I also have to bring it to the I advisory committee for a lot of those same concerns, making sure we're being very public about what we're trying to do. What is the intent of each location? What are we trying to capture? What do we think the outcome will be? So I believe it's a very transparent process. So
Right. And also taking into account, do you have to contact the businesses in the area, because now businesses have their own cameras up too?
Yeah, so I have done that in the past. That's not a hard and fast rule. If there's a camera going up in a location where we think a business might have a concern or have questions, or even just some curiosity around it, we are happy to discuss. I don't go door knocking too much. We do try to, the cameras are focused on public spaces. Now, do they cover some private spaces? Of course. But it wouldn't cover anything that wouldn't be plainly seen by a passerby. And we are governed very strictly by the MPIFA process and our own code of conduct, which is backed by the MPIFA, which is the privacy and information folks. The cameras have technology to black out large sections of, could be buildings, could be a neighborhood, whatever. There are cameras, for instance, over the floodways of the McIntyre River by the mall. And those are very important to have. A lot of the energy, a lot of the direction for that first round of funding came out of the 7 Youth Inquest and the fact that there had been many homicides and murders around that waterway. And so these cameras are in place to make sure that people don't fall in the river again. What's near there is a neighborhood. So that neighborhood has been completely blocked out of the field of vision. So we're focused on the river, And
Right.
so there's lots of good technology to protect people and protect privacy.
Right. Wow, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to go check out the list of where all the locations are. And where can people find that list? Actually,
It's actually the simplest way to get to it is if you Google "Eye on the Street Thunder Bay," it'll take you to the City of Thunder Bay's page on our website directly. It has all the locations.
some people might worry about their privacy when they hear about cameras. What are some rules in place to make sure this program respects people's privacy?
Yeah, well, the backbone of this, and it's incredibly serious, is the code of practice for the Eye on the Street. That's what governs how we do things. Okay, that was an extensive process to bring that code of practice from idea into an adopted document, and so that document does get refreshed regularly, and it will be again in 2026. So in that document, it does highlight how we have worked with the Freedom of Information, the MPIFA people, to make sure that what we're doing is within existing approved processes. Now, one nuance from that, and one thing where we have pushed the envelope to the betterment is in our retention cycle. A lot of community surveillance systems, and there are many, and they're growing in Canada, have a 2-day retention period for footage. Because the main driver of our expansion in 2020 was missing persons, one of the main drivers, it really doesn't allow the camera system to be used for that because usually it takes 24 to 48 hours to establish that someone is missing. And therefore, if that were the case and we had a 48-hour retention period, that's no longer a reasonable tool to help or support that investigation. We have a 2-week or a 14-day retention cycle, which then that tool does become incredibly handy for missing person cases. So that is a big win, and that has really proven to be valuable in supporting the police's investigation work. So, yeah.
Wow, 2 weeks compared to 2 days. Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. There are trained camera operators behind the scenes, like you mentioned. What does their role look like day to day?
Well, we work with a third party on
Okay.
on this part. These are third party guards that are trained on video surveillance, that are trained on the system that we use, and so we do live monitoring every day for about eight hours. It can happen at any 8-hour period during the day, and it's 8 hours because that's about how long a working shift is. But primarily we focus on evenings and into the night and overnight. That's where, again, working with our partners at Thunder Bay Police, they're requesting that additional support. Should those needs change, we can adapt the program to do that. So we have a team, a small team of trained security guards that are third party, that are specific. This is what they do. And I have to say, they're excellent at what they do.
Wow. Okay. And when those operators maybe they see something, how does that information get passed along to the police in real time?
Yeah. So if I'm a security surveillance operator and I'm watching the screens and something happens, someone's lying with their face down on a street, a car is driving the wrong way on a road, an altercation, an accident, I have a phone and I can call into 911. And that is the best way to get a response. So we have a separate cell phone that's dedicated to that team that can call 911 should they see anything. In 2024, that actually happened only 7 times. And so live monitoring, although it's a valuable tool, it's proven not to be as valuable as the after-the-fact evidence collection or analytics of when something has happened where an officer is responding and they want to support or their investigation with video evidence, because you can imagine showing up to a scene with no video, there's lots of questions. Video is something that helps provide answers to that that process. And so in that sense, the tool gets used more than 100 times a year. Usage is about 8 to 20 times a month overall. And then at the end of the year, it's about 110, 120 times. And so I did actually cite in my most recent report that that's actually trending downward slightly, which you would expect a program like this to be growing, especially as we're adding locations. But there's been some changes, to be honest with you. That technology that a lot of people have on their doors, that Ring camera, that's pretty good right now. A lot of companies have their own surveillance systems. So dash cams have actually been an incredibly useful tool. So now an officer that has to deal with something that's happened has more options than just the I program,
right.
Which then, if the I program is needed, we're there and we support, but they may have a better angle from a private citizen or a commercial business.
Right.
Yeah.
But
you would never want to rely on homeowners and other businesses for this. But if it's there and it's to the benefit of the investigation, then why wouldn't you, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other information you want our listeners to know about the Eye on the Street program that we didn't chat about?
You know what? We're in another exciting growth phase. We're gonna look in this recent expansion that will take place in 2026. We're gonna look to add as many more locations as possible. We're going to be going to council very soon this year to highlight those new locations and some small changes to the code of practice. And other than that, it's a program I think at the city. It's one of the things the city does directly with police that I think we both take pride in. We both see the benefit of. And I think there's really a net positive impact on the community from having this. We are actually, we get a lot of inquiries from other municipalities on how we've essentially arrived at what the I program is today, that process, because other communities do look at it as a positive tool that they need to bring to their communities to help them deal with the issues that they have. Right.
So it's not a mandatory program in other cities?
No.
Yeah.
No, by no means.
Okay. So kudos, Thunder Bay. Okay, so thanks to you and everyone involved in this program for helping to keep our community members safe, of course. And thanks for coming to chat with me today.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
That's it for this week's episode of The Minutes. A big thank you to Matt Pearson, Senior Advisor of the Growth Department, for joining us. And as always, thanks for listening. If you want more information about City Council, agendas, or minutes, visit thunderbay.ca/council. You can catch the minutes every week wherever you get your podcasts, on our YouTube channel or on our website at thunderbay.ca/theminutes. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. I'm Amy. Thanks again for listening to The Minutes and have a great week.